Conditions in Pittsburgh, and the towels terrible. We're out. Bounce of the ball, 2 turnovers to 1 favor the Steelers, and that doesn't count. A short punt that gave Pittsburgh the ball in Baltimore territory. Todd Heap's touchdown pulled Baltimore within 3, but in the final minute it was Roethlisberger at work, and Santonio Holmes with a touchdown to give the Steelers a 20-10 advantage at the intermission. And this second half, as always, brought to you in high definition here on CBS. Well, the amazing Big Ben, he did it in the Super Bowl. He did it last week, keeping, as Coach Tomlin said, our pulse has still got some pulse, but he's making a beat rather rapidly right now.
Well, he just took advantage of a couple of things at the end of the first half. Number one, he saw the Ravens come off sides, and then he saw the blitz off the corner where he got the touchdown pass to Holmes. Here is the offsides, the free play, and then the touchdown pass. That's Heath Miller that sets up this touchdown pass right here to Santonio Holmes. So it's Ben Roethlisberger, a smart quarterback, a great leader, and really when the chips are down, he comes through.
There are the numbers in the first half, as they're not that lopsided in favor of the Steelers, as the Ravens have rushed for more yards, but it's Pittsburgh passing game, and nothing more illustrative of that success than that final drive with 3 big passes from Big Ben that led to the Santonio Holmes touchdown and a 10-point lead at the intermission. Again, Baltimore, if they win their final 2 games, this game included, will make it into the playoffs, but the Steelers trying to wedge their way into the playoff picture with a victory today to move even in wins and losses 8 and 7 each, should Pittsburgh come away with the victory this afternoon. Mason and Ward, the 2 golden oldies for these 2 teams as wide receivers, both a factor. Jalen Parmalee and Baltimore will get the ball first here in the second half, and of course John Harbaugh's team knowing that they've got to try to get something on the board early here to rebuild some momentum. They've been a good second half team, but not when they're down at halftime. 0-5 when trailing going into the second half.
The amazing thing about the turnovers, with Pittsburgh getting 2, they only could turn those 2 turnovers into 3 points, but it was other mistakes by the Ravens that cost them in that first half.
The Ravens have scored more points than anyone in the league in the third quarter, 113. Here's Parmalee. Some daylight out across the 30, 35-yard line. Goes Parmalee to the 36 before Anthony Madison can make the tackle along with Rocky Boyman.
Yeah, did not start off well for the Ravens, but their defense came through, and that interception was only turned into those 3 points we were just talking about. That fumble recovery by Ike Taylor after the strip by James Harrison. That shut down the Ravens when they were in good field position.
After they'd recovered the Mendenhall fumble. So this second half begins for Baltimore at the 36-yard line. Ray Rice behind quarterback Joe Flacco. Fires over the middle to Mason, and he's close to the first down, about 9 on the pickup at the 45 to Shea Townsend, the tackler.
No, it was good recognition by Flacco, good execution. He got back quickly. He knew the blitz was coming again. Again, it was Tyrone Carter from his blind side, but getting the ball out that quickly has been a big difference for Flacco this season.
It's a final division game for these 2 teams. That's where Pittsburgh has trouble with the head-to-heads going to the wild card. They're 1-4 within the division this year. It's McLean on short yardage, as has been his pattern throughout the year, and he delivers again. Didn't need much. Got a couple in the first down at the 47. There is the wild card picture. Baltimore's 8-6 advantage in jeopardy here, down by 10. Jacksonville losing by a couple of touchdowns against New England. Miami getting belted, so they're apparently going to go 7-8. And Houston's the team that's moving up, 8-7. Gary Kubiak's Texans finally living up to their expectations. Rice, 45-40. And he stumbles as he hit that 40-yard line, trying to make another move to the outside. Nevertheless, a solid run before Ryan Clark can down him.
And it's off the left side of the offensive line. Todd Heap, the tight end there, number 86. And Michael Orr, number 74, with the big block. And Rice's legs just going so fast. The block on James Harrison by Heap, and you can see Orr seal off the inside.
85 yards for Rice today. He had 88 in the first game. No 100-yard rusher allowed by the Steelers in a couple 3 seasons, but they're close now as Rice again storms through a hole and then stacked up at the 33-yard line. Ike Taylor got there first.
Yeah, it has been a real long time. 32 games that the Steelers have not given up that 100-yard rusher. Cam Cameron trying to figure that out. As Rice now 91 yards on 15 carries.
Last opponent to rush for 100 yards, Jacksonville's Fred Taylor, 32 games ago. Impressive drive to open this second half for the Ravens, and it's back to Rice. And he moves the pile inside the 30-yard line. Lamar Woodley and company in on the stop. Woodley from Saginaw, Michigan. Went to the University of Michigan, where he won almost all the big defensive awards as a collegiate senior. The Ted Hendricks Award, the Lombardi Award. As the #1 run defense with the Wolverines. Woodley spearheading that. Picked in the second round by the Steelers 3 years ago. And Flacco and the Ravens having trouble getting set on this play, a very critical play, so time called Baltimore. With our producer Bob Monsbach, our director Suzanne Smith, Dick Enberg, Dan Fouts in Pittsburgh. Opening drive of the second half. 3rd down and 1 for the Ravens at the 29. And it's Ray Rice. And he fights his way easily for the first down to the 26-yard line.
Well, that's just good power football. Again, the Ravens come in with an extra offensive lineman. Chris Chester lines up at tight end. Marshall Yanda with the pull, and it's just an easy pickup. Watch Yanda at 73 come over there. McLean with a good kick-out block on Carter, and Ray Rice picks up that first down with ease.
3 yards from 100, Ray Rice. Fake to Rice. Flacco throws to Rice, wide open in the flat. And he's out of bounds with a first down at the 12-yard line. And that's the value of Rice, not only leading the team in rushing, but in receiving yards.
That's his first catch of the afternoon. It's about time to get a guy with 73 catches involved in the passing game. Looked like the Steelers did a real good job in the first half shadowing Rice. Totally left him alone on that one.
Jackson of the Rams and Johnson of the Titans, the other 2 players leading their team in rushing and receiving. And here's Rice through another good hole on that left side. Finally, Lawrence Timmons rides him down inside the 10. In the first meeting, the Ravens 4th down and 5 at their own 46 with 3.5 to go. Trailing by 3. Flacco to Rice. 44 yards with a catch and run by Rice to set up the game-tying field goal. And then the Ravens would win it in overtime. Big play on 4th and 5.
Yeah, all he did was break 2 tackles on that play. Got inside of James Ferrier. Flacco found him. That won the game for the Ravens.
Willis McGahee makes his first appearance of the game. He's their touchdown maker when they get inside the 10th. It is McGahee. And nose down drives to the 6-yard line. Short of the first down by about 3. McGahee, less than 100 carries this year. The former Miami Hurricane. 360 yards to complement Ray Rice, and 9 touchdowns plus 2 receiving, 11 scores for McGahee. Rice watching from the sidelines with 100 yards in the game. It's a very short 5 on 3rd down. Flacco to Heap. Touchdown, Todd Heap. That's twice he's used that body and his basketball skills. Ward off the defender, William Gay, and come down with a score.
Heap is 6'5", Gay 5'10". Split out wide as a wide receiver with his eye on the ball the whole way. Gay with good coverage, but not quite high enough. And Heap's got a second score. 4th touchdown reception last 2 weeks.
And it's quite a compliment to the coaching staff of these Baltimore Ravens to be the highest scoring team in the third quarter in the entire league. That means they're doing some pretty good coaching at halftime and game scheming. They go all the way on the opening drive, and the extra point by Cundiff is good, and the game once again 3 points to Pittsburgh. Flacco to Heap for the second time, 7 yards on the scoring pass. It's 20-17. Beautiful mid-afternoon shot of the city of Pittsburgh here in western Pennsylvania, where they do love their football. And Todd Heap, 2 games in a row, 2 touchdowns in each, 4 in the last couple of weeks, and he pulls the Ravens within 3. Joe Flacco finding his favorite touchdown target today. Stefan Logan back, the former South Dakota Coyote, by way of the BC Lions in the CFL, and Quickster is from the 6-yard line. Those feet are dancing out to the 30, still on his feet, and wrestled down at the 31-yard line. John Harbaugh, Ray Rice, he has hit the century mark rushing. Rice against the Steelers. Best in the league in the second half. The Ravens 223-103. They've outscored their opponents, and they get a quick 7 here to start the second half today. Roethlisberger comes right back firing, and it is intercepted. Intercepted, and down the sidelines go the Ravens. It's Dominique Foxworth, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown. Oh my, what a turn of events as Dominique Foxworth with a diving interception. Hold on, there are flags down on the return.
Yeah, definitely on the return.
Illegal block in the back. Number 55 of the intercepting team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That wipes out the touchdown. Terrell Suggs with a block in the back takes 6 points off the board. Trying to get out in front of Foxworth. His 3rd pick in the last 2 games, got 2 against Chicago. He just outfights Santonio Holmes for this catch. And there's the block in the back by Suggs on Heath Miller. That's a good call by the officials, although Dominique Foxworth's not going to like it. Look at this effort by Foxworth going right over the back of Holmes as Holmes was going to the ground. Fans here want pass interference. They're not going to get it.
Oh, in multiples, these Ravens. 4 touchdowns in 2 games for tight end Todd Heap. 3 interceptions in 2 games for cornerback Foxworth. From the 37-yard line, Ray Rice already over the century mark, the first ball carrier against this Steeler defense to accomplish that feat, and he's adding to the total. Brett Kiesel makes the stop. And an injured Steeler, Brett Kiesel, down at the 32-yard line. We'll check on his welfare when we come back. Kiesel left the field under his own power. Seems to be okay. Second down. Flacco off play action, throwing complete to Mason. A nice low throw, and Mason down to scoop it up for another catch and a first down at the 24.
Yeah, good low throw, but a good quick throw too. After the play fake, really didn't waste any time as Mason was covered by Deshae Townsend. Good timing on that route. And again, the Ravens look so sharp on offense here in the second half.
Quick touchdown with the opening drive, then the interception by Foxworth, the 14th interception last 7 games for Baltimore. This is Rice in a crowd, able to work his way ahead for a yard or 2. Let's go to New York now. An update from JB.
All right, partner, not much offense happening in Cincinnati, but Carson Palmer hooks up with Lavernius Coles. We know that if the Bengals win, the division title is theirs. Right now, nursing a touchdown lead over Kansas City. Back to Dick and Dan.
All right, thanks, JB. We'll stay with you here. And, of course, throughout the afternoon, another game following this one around the country on our CBS doubleheader. Second down and 9 for the Ravens. And it's back to Rice. Runs right into a pile. No gain at all. Good work at the line of scrimmage. Nick Eason replacing Brett Kiesel at that defensive end position for Dick LeBeau. And he stacked up the play.
And this will bring up a third down situation. In the second half, Flacco's been red hot, 4 for 4. But this will be a difficult third down conversion for the Ravens.
At this spot, if they don't make it, it would be about a 40-yard field goal to tie it. into the tough end. Ball does not carry at all left to right here at Heinz Field. Flag down. So is Flacco. And it's Ike Taylor again coming in from the corner to run him down from the backside.
It looked like there was movement on the offensive line and in the backfield.
Offside. Number 56 of the defense. 5-yard penalty still.
You saw Polamalu reacting to Ziggy Hood, the rookie defensive lineman from Missouri. Offside.
Well, how big is this penalty? Woodley jumped into the neutral zone. Here he is at the right side of the screen.
At the 17-yard line.
And after the sack, that would have been a real long field goal, but now it's third and very manageable.
That was Woodley, 56 off the left side that appeared to jump offside, and Roethlisberger painfully accepting that instead of a fourth down, now third down. And Flacco throwing to the end zone. It's Heap again, and incomplete. A lot of pushing and shoving as Ryan Mundy, a rookie from West Virginia, there on the coverage.
Yeah, the ball was never in a position where Heap could gather himself and get up in the air. There's the arm bar by Mundy. That should have been called. He has his right arm impeding the progress, and Flacco is punished there by Woodley and Harrison. That could have been called and should have been called pass interference on Monday.
Now to tie the game, Billy Cundiff from 35 yards out of Sam Cook's hold. It's high enough. It's hooking to the left and does sneak through that left side upright. Oh, from 40, that one might have missed, but from 35, Cundiff able to tie it up here in Pittsburgh. 6:16 left in the third. See Brett Kiesel there on the Steelers sidelines. They took off the jersey and shoulder pads and actually were trying to make an adjustment in the shoulder pads. So it was a equipment problem, not an injury to Kiesel. That's good news for Steeler fans. He'll be back in. Meanwhile, Stefan Logan, ever dangerous, ready to return Cundiff's off. This one, a very short kick, comes up to one of the up blockers, and it's a big lineman. I think it's Nick Eason, who fields it and is tackled immediately. Well, Saturday, 2 scoops of hoops on CBS. 1 Eastern, Gonzaga against Illinois, or Arizona UCLA. Then a cross-state clash, Pitino's Louisville Cardinals colliding with Calipari's Kentucky Wildcats. Here in the home of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championships, CBS Sports.
And a flag was just thrown.
Invalid fair catch signal. Actually, after the fair catch, the runner signaled for his fair catch and ran with the ball. 5-yard penalty.
That's what happens when the big guys like Nick Eason, a defensive tackle at 6'3" and 305, he doesn't have a lot of practice calling that fair catch.
He saw the short kickoff, and he may have been just trying to gain his balance with his hands up in the air. What do I do if I catch this one?
That was kind of a woe is me fair catch signal. At the 21-yard line, after the penalty, fans don't like that. 10 unanswered points by the Ravens here in the third quarter to tie it at 20. Mendenhall twisting, and nothing there at all as Ray Lewis there to submarine and belt him hard, as he has so often. He's had over 150 tackles this year, Lewis, leading these Ravens for the 12th time in his 14 All-Pro years.
And if there ever was a game for running backs to one cut and go, this is it. You hesitate against either of these defenses, and you're not going to get any yardage.
So Roethlisberger alone in the shotgun spreads him out here on 2nd and 10. Caught by the jersey, and he can't get rid of it. Tried as Trevor Price and Terrell Suggs from each side of the line of scrimmage sandwich Roethlisberger, and that's the 4th sack today and the 17th sack suffered by Roethlisberger in the last 3 games.
Well, what Price does is he'll attack the right side and then go left against the center. That's Justin Hardwick. And the blitz on the outside by Chris Carr also coming. So Greg Madison showing that his team, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, they can get after the quarterback too.
And that brings up 3rd down and 17 for Roethlisberger. He's looking for something big on this throw. Last time has to throw into the flat, complete. And it's Heath Miller, the tight end, out to the 23. But that brings up 4th down and 8, and the Steelers will have to punt it away. Carr and Walker, the 2 corners, make that last tackle. Chris Carr filling in for the injured Fabian Washington. Carr, mostly a special teamer and kick returner throughout his career, has done some solid work at the corner. And now he's back to return the kick. Boise State star in his day out of Reno, California. He's got room to run here. And the 35 gets a block and out of bounds at the 50-yard line. And their flags are flying now as there's a skirmish along the sidelines as Carr went out of bounds.
Yeah, Haloti Ngata, tough to hide when you're 6'4", 345.
After the runner went out of bounds. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 92 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
Ngata from the University of Oregon, big man on special teams.
Yeah, kind of took out 2 guys with that, so he'll get the flag. The Ravens kept their defense on the field, so not used to being asked to block on the punt return team. Costly mistake.
And when he's like the bowling ball knocking down pins.
And the other thing was he did it on the Steelers sideline, and no Steeler went up and challenged him.
Wonder why. Yeah, he's got to be ticketed to the Pro Bowl. He's certainly one of the very best, although that play hurts his team. The Ravens takes it back to the 35-yard line. Flacco to throw. Another flag is down, and Flacco is sacked. Nick Eason comes through. Take that for the fair catch call, says Eason.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Number 98, defense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Well, they're sure calling this a lot. Casey Hampton, as the ball is snapped, he's going to put his hands right in the face of Matt Burke. Right here in the middle of the screen here. Actually, it's the left guard. It actually took the helmet right off of Yanda. Look at Yanda continue to fight without his hat on.
So that negates a sack by the Steelers and gives the Ravens a 1st down out at the 40-yard line. Ray Rice burrows out to the 42-yard line, and Travis Kershke makes the tackle.
You know, that's twice now in this quarter that the Ravens have sacked Flacco, but have had a penalty on both the plays.
O'Neal Cousins, the injured offensive lineman for Baltimore.
Now this hurts the Ravens offensively, obviously, as Jared Gaither did not suit up today. He's inactive, so I would suspect that Chris Chester would be put in the game.
Tony Mall, number 79, appears to be coming in for Baltimore.
There's Chester on the sidelines. Here is O'Neal Cousins. This is what happens so often. LeRon McClain comes in, then from behind, it's Hampton falling on his left ankle.
Cousins in considerable pain. As his leg bent back.
This changes a lot of things for the offensive line. We've seen Chester come in as an extra offensive line a lot in this game, as the Ravens have been very effective running the ball with Ray Rice. Rice with 108 yards on 22 carries. If Cousins can't go, they have to do more shuffling along that offensive line.
It all began with the injury to Jared, starter at left tackle, so Orr, the right tackle, had to move over to left tackle. Cousins went to right tackle.
Ouch. Oh, that's a tough one. Just doing his job.
Caught up in the wash, and it's just amazing that there aren't more injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. Big bodies, big strong men.
Now 2nd down and 8 for the Ravens, who have scored 10 here in the third quarter to tie the Steelers. 3.5 minutes to go in the period. Flacco over the middle, complete. And Mason has yet another catch on a first down for Baltimore at the 43-yard line. William Gay, who was benched at the start today. Deshae Townsend started for Gay, who's had his problems of late, but Gay now back in as Townsend was having difficulty covering his man.
Yeah, the timing has just been superb for the Ravens passing attack. Flacco getting rid of the ball, and good sharp route by Mason.
Well, the Ravens living up to their reputation as being the best scoring team in the third quarter in the NFL. They have 10, and now back into Pittsburgh territory to the 41-yard line.
So Tony Mall has come into the game for O'Neal Cousins, and on the reception by Derek Mason, they went with an unbalanced line to the left side and basically had Todd Heap playing tackle. He was on line of scrimmage as an eligible receiver, but just one other offensive lineman on that side of the ball as Cousins being checked out on the sidelines.
Just a handful of yards for Mason to hit the 1,000-yard mark for the 8th time in his career. He's over 11,000 total. Here's Ray Rice, and he just bulls his way over a tackler to the 31-yard line, and another first down. And Ryan Clark coming up to meet Rice, and he took the punishment, did Clark, the tackler.
Yeah, the low man usually wins, and when you're 5'8", you're usually the low man. And Clark coming up to make the tackle, did not get down low enough, and Rice just drilled him to pick up the first down.
Rice with 119 yards, and the Pittsburgh team with only 38 on the ground. Ray Rice has spent Christmas Day with the Ray Lewis family, and a prize gift, he said. Ray Lewis gave him a Bible. That was his top holiday gift. And trying to give back to his team here, but not now. James Harrison wards him off. No gain, maybe a loss of a yard on the play.
That was really an important tackle by Harrison. Remember, he's playing with a bad bicep. Had trouble sacking Joe Flacco in the first quarter, but that was just a real gutty tackle as it looked like Rice was going to cut inside of Harrison and pick up some big yardage.
You saw Ray Lewis on the sidelines. He's been a mentor to so many of these young players coming through in his 14 years, including Ed Reed and now Ray Rice. Rice getting a breather. McGahee, the running back. McGahee around the corner. 20, and McGahee is in the end zone for a Baltimore touchdown. Flag down late at the 10-yard line, long after McGahee had crossed the goal line.
Looks like it's coming back, holding against the Ravens.
During the run, holding, number 15. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Kelly Washington wearing that puzzled expression.
Yeah, puzzled by, he's asking who caught me. Not that I didn't do it, but who saw it?
Very late flag, though, Dan. It was
thrown. Yeah, it was thrown by the back judge, actually. Here's Washington right here. And as McGahee comes down the sidelines, he's going to reach out and just hug the shoulder pads of Deshae Townsend. And a great job by Townsend to waving his arm to alert the officials. I'm getting held here. Throw the flag, please.
The pity of it all, if you're a Baltimore fan, is that he didn't need the block. That McGahee was going to score anyway. He's way over here. Well, maybe. So Ray Rice is back in, and it's 2nd down and 5. So instead of a touchdown, that becomes just a 5-yard run by McGahee. 20-20, final minute, third quarter, and it's Rice. Boy, is he tough to bring down. They get his helmet and finally get him down. James Ferrier, the tackler, at the 20-yard line. Another first down, Baltimore. And as we pointed out at the start of the second half, these Ravens are the toughest in the league. When they have the ball, they outscore the entire NFL in the third quarter, and they've outscored the Steelers by 10 here in this third quarter. 22 plays to only 4 in the quarter, and that's the end of 3. It's tied at 20. We'll return to Pittsburgh after this message and a word from your local station. What a third quarter for the Baltimore Ravens. 22 plays to only 4. Foxworth interception, touchdown called back by penalty, so the Ravens got only 3 out of the interception, and now the run by McGahee negated on a penalty after he ran in from 32 yards out. Ravens still with the ball and a first down as we open the fourth quarter at the Pittsburgh 20-yard line. 15 minutes, crucial minutes to decide a playoff spot perhaps as Flacco throws to the end zone. Touch! Oh no! Derek Mason, ever reliable. That was too easy. Right down the bottom of the well.
He did a great job of getting behind Deshae Townsend. In fact, he was so wide open.
Hit him in the helmet.
Hit him in the face mask. I'm not sure he took his eye off the ball. Ball almost hit him in the eye.
Yeah, that's one of the hazards of catching the ball against your body and not out with your hands.
That's a great point, Dick. And that guy's caught a ton of them, too.
All you can do is laugh it off, as the old pro does. Flacco, screen it to Rice. He's got blockers. 20, and then he runs into one of them, and down goes another flag.
You got 2 flags on the play. One thrown at when the ball was snapped, perhaps an illegal formation. And then after the ball was caught by Rice.
Well, that sure looked as if it was going to go longer, didn't it? The way he had that set up. Ben Roethlisberger has cooled his heels on the Steelers sideline. Only 4 plays since halftime.
There are 2 fouls by the offense. Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield. That penalty will be declined. An eligible man downfield, number 73. That penalty be accepted. 5 yards. Second down.
Marshall Yanda out in the screen. The offensive lineman too far beyond the line of scrimmage. So the ball comes back to the 26-yard line.
Boy, a couple of really crucial mistakes by the Ravens.
For John Harbaugh, O'Neal Cousins has returned to the offensive line, the starting tackle, so he's okay.
Take a lot of time in the huddle to get this play called. Play clock running down. No time to change the play at the line of scrimmage for Flacco.
3, 2, and he has to call time. That's the second used by the Ravens here in the second half. Only 1 left. 20-20 the score, and the Steeler fans uplifted by the fact that 2 touchdowns by the Ravens have been called back by penalty. And now another penalty positions them at 2nd and 15 at the 26-yard line of this tie game early in the 4th. Flacco, pump fake, goes deep, and out of bounds. And we also should add in Derek Mason touchdown. There's a flag down where Flacco threw the ball. Lamar Woodley, did he hit him late?
This might be against O'Neal
Personal
Cousins.
Foul. Late hit, hitting a player after the play, number 64. 15-yard penalty, second down.
Wow.
Well, no love lost between these rivals. Here is the penalty on O'Neal Cousins on Woodley. And that's about as cheap as you can get, right in front of the official there, Pete Morelli.
And that's a cheap foul, but an expensive one because it takes the Ravens out of field goal range.
And just moments ago, Derek Mason dropped a touchdown catch.
So that's 3 touchdowns here in the second half that have been either negated by penalty or by a drop ball for the Ravens. 30 yards from a first down. Flacco scrambling. And finally throws it away. He got it to the line of scrimmage, no flag.
Great determination by the 3-man rush of the Steelers.
That's Ziggy Hood, the rookie, 96.
And they're saying he was down before he got rid of it, so this is a sack and more lost yardage for the Ravens. They ought to go back to the third quarter when they were invincible.
It remains tied at 20 as the Steelers have benefited from Raven errors. 2 penalty mistakes that cost touchdowns called back, and then normally reliable veteran receiver Derek Mason all alone in the end zone drops an easy touchdown. Sam Cook trying to kick that knuckleball down inside the 15, and it's fair caught by Mewelde Moore. So the Steelers have survived. They're still tied at 20, and they have the ball. And Mason, disbelief. How could I drop that touchdown? Funicular, symbolic, isn't it? The ups and downs of this season and this game. Now the Steelers have it. 20-20. And a one-hopper incomplete to Holmes, thrown by Ben Roethlisberger. As the Steelers ducking a disaster in the last 10 minutes or so, as the Ravens beating themselves. 2 touchdowns denied by penalty and a drop ball by Mason in the end zone. Plus other penalties that took them out of field goal range. So with all the opportunities, they got only 3 points out of those 3 possessions. That's Hines Ward in motion. Scrambling and throwing downfield for Wallace, incomplete. Coverage by Chris Carr. He was fortunate that ball hit him. He had his back to the play. Let's go to JB in New York.
Hey, Dick, a Bengals win wraps up the division, but nothing happening offensively. So take a look at Kansas City's Tim Castile. Look at this catcher in traffic, holds on to it. That knocks it up at 10-all in the 4th. Back to Dick Enberg. Dan Fouts.
Haven't we seen this over and over again, Dan? You get teams that don't have winning records, they're out of the playoffs, and they just make it so troublesome for favored teams. 3rd down now for the Steelers, 3rd and 10. Roethlisberger guns over the middle and has a man wide open. Santonio Holmes and a first down. What a big pickup that is from deep in their own end on 3rd and 10.
That's just the second completion in the second half for Roethlisberger. The Ravens decided to just rush 3. That gave Santonio Holmes room to get open in the zone defense. And then the fastball from Roethlisberger just past Ray Lewis in front of Landry.
21 yards on the play and a big first down out at the 33. Mendenhall tripped up, and he had some room to run outside. Charles Suggs diving low to make the tackle. There's the AFC North standings, as you saw Cincinnati now in a tie game. 1 game ahead of Baltimore, with Pittsburgh 2 back. And all 3 of those teams, depending on how things shift here in the next game and this quarter, are looking for a playoff ticket. How many will make it? It's in Baltimore's hands if they can win out today and next week. At Oakland, they're in. Roethlisberger. Plenty of time, stops, throws, and completes it to Holmes again. And a late flag is thrown after the play.
Yeah, this might be illegal contact against the Ravens.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 59, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It's one of those bunch routes, a lot of traffic over the middle. Ellerbe, who's playing for Tavares Gooden today, who's out with a groin injury. He gets called for the illegal contact on Heath Miller. Right here is Miller. And that's beyond the 5-yard mark right there. In fact, it's about 10, 12 yards beyond it.
Ellerbe, the free agent rookie from Georgia, playing for Tavares Gooden. That's 88 yards in penalties against Harbaugh's Ravens. Stretch play, Mendenhall cuts back. And good open field tackle by Frank Walker.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to this Raven defense against the run. Greg Madison's group has held the Steelers to under 50 yards rushing. In fact, they only have 41 yards rushing here in the entire ball game.
with Ray Rice, on the other hand, for Baltimore, rushing for 125 yards alone. Veteran Madison. Wiley, veteran coach on the sidelines. Bunch to the left, and then he throws to the right for Holmes, incomplete. Coverage from Dominic Foxworth.
That was a good blitz right up the middle. That kind of sped up Roethlisberger a little bit, got him a little bit off target as he threw it a little bit wide for Holmes.
And Dan, here's another 3rd and long, and that's where Ben's been at his best.
Yep, 4 out of 9 converting 3rd downs. But if they just rush 3, that really plays into Roethlisberger's hands.
Well, that's how they set up here with 3 down linemen. Actually, only 1 with his 2. Now 3 with their hand on the ground. 3-man rush. Then plenty of time over the middle. No. Pulls it back. Now throws. He's got a man open. And it's incomplete. Mewelde Moore breaking loose down the sidelines, and DeJuan Landry able to get there in time to break it up. Boy, for a moment that looked like a 6.
Well, Landry's playing middle field, and he covers a lot of ground here, coming over and just stripping the ball away from Mewelde Moore. Great play by DeJuan Landry.
Well, he did cover center field, didn't he? Here's the punt by the left-footed kicker Sepulveda. Carr at the 20-yard line. For a moment, it looked like he had a big avenue. Gets it out to the 29-yard line. The Ravens back with the ball. It's still tied at 20. 11 minutes left in this one. Second game's coming up. The Broncos and Eagles and the unbeaten Colts and the Jets. Stay tuned. Our doubleheader on CBS. From the 30-yard line, Flacco and the Ravens. So many opportunities lost in the second half after they scored 10 in the third quarter to tie it. They had 2 more chances to score, and then a drop pass as well. And so it remains at 20-20, and Ray Rice continues to churn out yardage for the Baltimore Ravens as we welcome those of you who have been watching NFL action elsewhere on CBS. New England defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars 35-7, so New England's in the playoffs. The Jaguars were in the driver's seat for most of this season, and they lose a tough one today. Here, the Ravens trailed Pittsburgh 20-10 at the half, scored 10 unanswered in the third to tie it, and then had 2 touchdowns called back by penalty, and Derek Mason dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone. And so it remains tied at 20. Over the middle, Flacco complete, and Mason catches this one, then drops the ball. Is it ruled a fumble? No. Incomplete pass, and Mason shaken by the hit. Flag down again.
It's going to be holding against the Ravens.
And that'll take them over 100 yards and penalties in this game. And Mason wounded on that hit. He was really clobbered.
Number 73, offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So the self-destruction continues for Baltimore.
Yeah, this is crazy. They played such a perfect quarter in the third quarter. Go back to the hit on Derek Mason. As it appears he makes the catch here, takes 2 steps, and then has the ball knocked out. I think that's a fumble.
From that angle, it certainly appeared to be.
Here's Flacco throwing a good ball over the middle. And a big hit there as Timmons and Tyrone Carter combine. There's possession, 2 steps, ball comes out. That's a fumble. Ryan Clark picked it up.
Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Steelers, watching the big screen at the south end of the stadium, and we'll see if he's going to toss the red challenge flag.
There's possession. There's 1 step, 2 steps, and then the ball comes out. Ruled incomplete on the field.
And meanwhile, Mason continues to draw the training attention there as he's finally in a seated position, and see Ike Taylor there. Respect for Mason, a great veteran. Boy, what a rough second half. He had 5 yards open in the end zone, a touchdown pass that went right off his helmet. And now this injury, trying to make a big catch into the teeth of the defense.
How about Lawrence Timmons being almost 20 yards down the field from his linebacker spot to combine with Tyrone Carter on that big hit on Derek Mason.
One of the considerations and the challenge is the fact that the Steelers picked up the ball immediately, but apparently the whistle had blown at that point. And Tomlin arguing it still should be our ball.
Yeah, that's the old escape clause for the officials. It's the old whistle blowing. But this appears to be a catch by Mason. Watch 23, Tyrone Carter come in. And then from the other side, it's going to be Lawrence Timmons.
Is incomplete pass.
Well, we understand that. I'm not sure Mike Tomlin understands it, or these fans.
Meanwhile, Harbaugh is having difficulty understanding the rash of penalties his team is committing here in the second half. Another one takes them back to the 24-yard line. Brings up 2nd and long for Flacco. 98 yards total in penalties. Ray Rice spinning forward to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 9 when we come back to Pittsburgh. First to New York.
Hey, Dick, Saints looking to clinch home field in the NFC, but Tampa Bay has different thoughts in mind. Take a look at Michael Spurlock on this punt return. Takes it back 77 yards to the house. That ties it up at 17. Back to Dick and Dan.
Give me that again, James.
Another team with nothing to win, nothing to gain. Yeah. Being a thorn in the side of a playoff team.
Maybe there is a full moon. 3rd and 9. Under the noise in Pittsburgh. Flacco hit from behind, and down he goes. Ziggy Hood, Evander Ziggy Hood, his first NFL sack.
Well, in the game 1, Flacco was sacked 5 times by the Steelers. This is just the 2nd sack of the afternoon for Pittsburgh. 96 is Hood. Good job of hanging onto the ball by Flacco as Hood comes from the blind side. Hood will learn to try to strip that ball as he's coming in.
So Sam Cook in to punt for Baltimore. Stephon Logan back. Good high boot. Logan to the 19. Boy, he is clever. How quick are those feet? Out to the 36-yard line on a 16-yard return. Tackled by David Tyree. 9 minutes, 3 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Tied at 20. These two teams battling for a possible playoff spot. Mendenhall behind Ben Roethlisberger. Mendenhall. And the delay. Good blocking out in front. And he travels a 7-yard gain out to the 43-yard line. Tuesday on CBS. Celebrate great American artists Bruce Springsteen, Robert De Niro, Mel Brooks, many more. It's a great show. One of our favorites every year. The Kennedy Center Honors. Tuesday. Only CBS. This is a Pittsburgh team that ran out to 6-2. It won 5 in a row and then lost 5 in a row. All by close scores. And then the miracle win to stay alive last week, 37-36 against Green Bay. Roethlisberger low over the middle to Holmes, and Santonio couldn't scrape it up. At the half, it was 20-10 Steelers, and then the Ravens scored 10 points to tie it. Todd Heap, his second touchdown catch. And then the interception by Foxworth. He went to the end zone, but called back on a penalty. So they settled for a field goal to tie it. But since then, another touchdown run by McGahee called back by penalty, and a drop pass in the end zone by Derek Mason. He was wide open. The Ravens should be well ahead. Roethlisberger over the middle, complete, first down. And that's the first catch of the year by Tyler Grisham, the rookie from Clemson. He was just activated off the practice squad.
Yeah, doing a nice job of working over the middle, number 19 against Chris Carr. That's a heck of a way to get your first catch in such an important game for Pittsburgh.
Good news we're receiving from the Ravens sidelines that Derek Mason is going to come back into the game next time Baltimore has the ball. First down, Pittsburgh at the 43. They bunch 4 receivers to the right and then throw left to Holmes. 30, 20, and down at the 19. Zbikowski made the tackle.
Got away from Dominic Foxworth. Man-to-man coverage on the weak side. You talked about the 4 receivers to the strong side. Bad angle taken by Foxworth as he went outside in. And then Santonio Holmes with the speed down the sidelines. They might be, they should have called this hit on Zbikowski as he throws a forearm to the side of the head of Holmes.
24 yards for Holmes. He's had a big day, Santonio. 3 catches over 20 yards. And a total of 86 on 5. And a flag down before the snap.
False start. Number 674. Offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Right tackle Willie Colon.
Boy, the penalties, the mistakes, the mental errors in this game, kind of mind-boggling when you think of what's on the line here. So many points given up, so many big plays, sacks, penalties have wiped out a lot of big plays on both sides.
Joe Flacco, relaxed state on the bench there with Todd Heap, who has caught 4 touchdowns from Flacco in 2 games. Big Ben surveys, pumps, now throws it away. That gives us a chance to go to New York and James Brown with this update.
Well, Cincinnati shows a little life here, Dick. Take a look. Capping a 14-play, 98-yard drive. Carson Palmer to Ocho Cinco. That 6-yard strike puts him out in front by 7 with 2:03 left in regulation. Back to Dick and Dan.
All right, thank you, James. Ocho Cinco announces his presence, and the Bengals battle back into a touchdown lead. Here at 2nd and 15. Just over 6 minutes left. Mendenhall, the running back. And he gets the call. Cuts back inside. Breaks a tackle to the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd and long for the Steelers. Again, the wild card picture. These 2 teams battling to get to the party. Baltimore and Denver with the advantage starting today. And then the 5 teams at 7 and 7, although Jacksonville has already lost and Miami was losing big. Houston appears to be the team to watch. They're the one team that has the big advantage over the Steelers in head-to-head should Pittsburgh win today. Mewaldy Moore now in the backfield with Roethlisberger. The quick throw over the middle, dropped by the rookie Tyler Grisham. It was in his hands, and Grisham unable to pull it in. He may not have gotten the first down, but it would have been close. So out comes the field goal unit. It'll be up to the leg of Jeff Reed.
And Mike Tomlin went right to Grisham after that dropped pass. And I'm sure he said, catch the ball before you run with it, son.
38-yard field goal attempt by Reed to give the Steelers the lead at the 5.5-minute mark. And Reed booms it through, and Pittsburgh owns the lead, 23-20.
Steelers 23, Ravens 20.
Both these teams throughout the year as 2 of the quality teams that don't have the records to reflect it because so many of their defeats have been very, very close. For example, the Ravens against New England, 32 seconds left. Mark Clayton drops a 4th down pass. Then against Cincinnati, Palmer to Caldwell, 22 seconds left. Cincy wins. Minnesota, Hauschka misses a 44-yard field goal that would have won it. And then against Indianapolis, Joe Flacco intercepted with just over 2 minutes left as the Colts remain unbeaten. And it's just as tough on the other side as Roethlisberger and the Steelers have lost 5 different times this year. Pittsburgh has lost, including to Baltimore, by just 3 points. 5 games lost by just 3. They lead by 3 now. Plenty of time. The Ravens, however, have used 2 of their timeouts at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't get a play off, so they have but 1 to spend. Jalen Parmalee, second-year runner from Toledo, is back to return.
And Parmalee's done a good job returning kickoffs for the Ravens, especially here in the second half. He's gotten the ball out past the 30-yard line a couple of times.
Here's the kick by Reed. Spins it down to the 3. Former Toledo Rocket. And he does just that. Rockets down the sidelines all the way to midfield before Jeff Reed, the kicker, can bump him out of bounds. And plenty of hugs from his teammates to Parmalee gives Baltimore great field position.
Yeah, great job on the special team. Sibikowski, 28, is going to lead, make the key block on Ike Taylor right there. And then Reed's got to come over and push Parmalee out of bounds. What a great return all the way into Steeler territory. And now if the Ravens can quit being their own worst enemy here, they might be able to get in, do some business, get in the end zone with a lot of time, or at least get a tying field goal. But they got to quit making mistakes.
48 yards on that return by Parmalee to the 49 of Pittsburgh. 5:17 to go, and Ray Rice noses low under the defensive pressure for about 3. James Ferrier credited with the tackle, and Ray Rice with 139 yards rushing against a team that had not given up a 100-yard rusher in 32 games.
Yeah, he's done such a great job between the tackles too, making the first guy miss and then punishing the second guy. Big day for Rice.
Only 22 years young, youngest on the Baltimore roster. Second year out of Rutgers. He gets a breather. McLean now the running back, as he was used much of last year. Quick throws to Mason back in the game. Tackled immediately. Forward progress will be spotted. I believe he'll have the first down.
Yeah, he went right to the necessary yardage. In fact, he went about a yard farther than he needed to get the first down. So when he's hit after the catch and thrown back by Townsend, it's a first down for Baltimore. That's the veteran type of play you expect out of Derek Mason. You know he wants to bounce back after dropping that touchdown pass from Flacco.
Mason today with his catches, over 11,000 yards in his career, over 1,000 yards this season, the 8th time. On first down, it's McLean, and he stumbles forward for a couple of yards. And we remind you tonight on 60 Minutes, a high-ranking veteran of the CIA will warn of new attacks by Al-Qaeda here in the U.S., plus the most dangerous sport in the world, tonight on 60 Minutes. The Ravens need more yardage to really ensure a possible field goal. They're not thinking 3, they're thinking more. But at this point, it'd be a very difficult chance in this stadium by Cundiff, one of the toughest stadiums in the NFL in which to kick a long field goal. On second and long, it's Rice back in the game, but not much there as he burrows to the 35-yard line. Lamar Woodley, the tackler, and there's Billy Cundiff, his longest this year since joining the Ravens, 46 yards. He had one 56 yards back in Dallas, but that was 4 years ago.
He tied the game with a 24-yard field goal in game 1, and then he won it with a 29-yard field goal in overtime. So he's used to the pressure.
Time chewing away. 2:45, 2:44 left. 3rd and 7. Flacco sacked at the 40-yard line by Lamar Woodley.
And you can forget about a field goal try from this far, I would think. Woodley, right side of the screen, working on O'Neal Cousins. Remember, Cousins was hurt earlier. Great spin move by Woodley as he comes to the inside to bring down Flacco.
Steelers have called timeout with 2:34 left. That for Lamar Woodley, his first sack today. He has 10.5 this year, as he's complimented James Harrison on the other side. The two of them both in double figures in sacks. kind of amazing that this Pittsburgh team, second in the league with 40 sacks starting today, and yet only 8 interceptions. And they still don't have an interception by a cornerback the entire season.
Flacco did a good job not forcing that ball and forcing the potential interception.
4th and 10 for the Ravens, and John Harbaugh going for it with only 2:34 left. And he has just one timeout. Now this critical game, heated rivals Baltimore and Pittsburgh may come down to this play, 4th and 10, and Flacco hit, ball bobbled around, and finally picked off by Ziggy Hood.
It was Woodley again from the outside, getting the pressure, getting the sack, forcing the fumble, and Hood picks it out of the air. And that could do it for the Ravens today against the Steelers. With just one timeout, 2:26 to go, and the Steelers with the ball.
Now Ray Lewis and the defense will have to come up with something really special now, because Baltimore has lost its advantage. They've dropped a touchdown pass. They've had 2 touchdowns called back by penalty, and here comes the pressure.
Yeah, Woodley just too much for O'Neal Cousins. You wonder about the leg injury to Cousin. Looks like he's got his left knee wrapped up. There's the big hit. Ball bounces off the hat of Matt Burke, and there's Ziggy with the fumble recovery.
Oh, his first sack as a pro, and now his first interception. With the 2-minute warning coming up, plus 1 timeout to use for Baltimore. As they give us to Mendenhall, they try to tackle the ball, and they've got one of the best ever at doing that, Ray Lewis. There's the final timeout for the Ravens. So those 2 they had to use earlier in the half come back to haunt them here in this situation.
Yeah, a lot of miscues in the second half that have wiped out some touchdowns. Go back to Baltimore. After the interception by Foxworth, gets in the end zone, but a block in the back right there by Terrell Suggs calls that one back. And then this holding call on Washington. That negated the touchdown by McGahee, and then Derek Mason dropping a sure touchdown in the end zone when he was 5 yards in the clear.
That was an incredible sequence of events against the Ravens, self-destructing. The penalties have really taken a big bite out of their chances today. And now it's the Steelers, a miracle win last week for the defending Super Bowl champs. 37-36, 19-yard touchdown, final play. And now they're in control here. With 2:23 left, they'll run it again. Mendenhall securing the ball, tackled at the 40. The clock will run down to the 2-minute warning. Kelly Gregg made the tackle. So it'll be 3rd down and long when we come back after the 2-minute warning. The Ravens still have a chance. They'll get the ball back should they hold Pittsburgh on 3rd down. 2 minutes left here in Pittsburgh. Congratulations to the Bengals. They have won their division. So the 4 division winners are set for the playoffs. Indianapolis and San Diego get the first round bye. New England and Cincinnati through. The wild card starting today, Baltimore and Denver had the 8-6 advantage. Baltimore's lead there in jeopardy with 2 minutes to go. And Denver plays at Philadelphia in our second game of the doubleheader. 3rd down 11, and Roethlisberger's going to pass for it. Caught from behind, gets away. Typical Big Ben. And now he's going to throw long down the field for Wallace. Intercepted. Zbikowski circling the field at the 30. Flags are down. He's to the 50. Still on his feet. The former Notre Dame star to the 42. Now let's see what the call is. Another big yellow flag against whom? Against Baltimore.
Yeah,
oh
holding.
My.
It was holding in the secondary. Zbikowski with a great pick and returns going to be negated one more time. A huge play by Baltimore, wiped out by a penalty.
You know, there's a case where he should have batted it down.
Illegal contact. Number 41 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered that call before the ball was thrown. And another penalty that just is a dagger to Harbaugh and the Ravens. They had stopped. They had been Roethlisberger trapped. He got away, makes the throw, and even though it's intercepted, The Ravens get the penalty on the first down, which all but secures the win.
Ruling on the field was stand. Illegal contact. Defense.
That's a good call on Frank Walker. Heads up by Wallace going deep, and good job by Zbikowski. 10 penalties accepted today against Baltimore for over 100 yards.
And in the second half, after battling from behind 20-10 at halftime to tie it at 20, just a rash of errors from the Ravens and 2 penalties that cost them touchdowns. And now it's just a couple of knees by Big Ben, and the Steelers almost pronounced out the defending Super Bowl champions, going 6-7, win on the last play of the game a week ago, 37-36 against Green Bay, and they were down and in trouble at 20-20, and the Ravens having all the momentum today in the second half, but Baltimore way too generous in the errors committed, including that man who's been Mr. Reliable, Derek Mason, dropping a wide open touchdown pass in the end zone.
And if you go back to the penalty, the play on Roethlisberger by Trevor Pryce, Pryce was in on Roethlisberger, gave him the chop to try to knock the ball out, cause a fumble, but Big Ben so strong, spun away from another tackle, and that extended the play where they get the penalty on Frank Walker for illegal contact.
And with 57 seconds, another kneel down, and they'll do it one more time, and Mike Tomlin's team will move into an 8-7 tie with Baltimore, but they've split their 2 games this year, and it'll come down to the final week of the season. There's the chance for Pryce. Even if he makes the tackle there, he's going to force the punting team on the field.
And there's the hold against Frank Walker on the outside, illegal contact. Oh, it might have been for Baltimore. They played such a perfect third quarter, offensively and defensively. The Steelers could only run 4 plays offensively in that third quarter.
The King is still alive. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won again, 23-20. The Ravens and the Steelers end today 8-7. 1 week to go. Coming up next is Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. James